I wanted to tell you a story that I find so amazing and heartwarming as somebody who works with children on the spectrum. So, if you have a child on the spectrum in your life or know someone who does, there's a good chance that screens are an integral part of their life. Whether that's for mom to get a few minutes of rest, or to be able to make dinner while the child stays occupied in the other room, or to help them learn some things that they need to know for school, to work on their speech and language and communication, you name it. There's so many reasons for tablets to be an integral part of a child's life when they're on the spectrum, and they have a lot more needs than a typical child might have. However, that also means that there is a tendency towards screen addiction for many children who actually don't know what to do with themselves when the screen is not in front of them. They don't have other goal-directed activities that they know how to engage in. They don't know how to occupy their time or play alone. And as these skills are being worked on, it's often easier just to go to the screen because the screen is a done for you type of technology. So that being said, I wanted to share a story with you about a little boy that I worked with many, many years ago that was very addicted to screens. When I did a school observation, just having the tablets piled on the teacher's desk waiting to be handed out to the students in second grade, he could not concentrate on his work because all he could see was that big pile of tablets. And then when the tablets were handed out at a particular station that the kids were going to rotate to, the sounds that the learning games were making were so distracting to him that he needed to get up out of his seat, hover around the table where those children were, and look over their shoulders to watch what they were doing. In his head, he was always making the sounds of all the different learning games, and he was perpetually distracted whenever an iPad or any other sort of tablet was nearby. Now, the other challenge was that the iPad had been identified as a reinforcer for him in his behavior program. So every time he completed a learning task or every time he did what he was supposed to, he would get some time on the iPad. Now, when I collaborated with his behavioral staff, this was something that I had a long discussion with them about because they weren't realizing that their data, as far as his behavior and self-regulation, was really getting compromised by the fact that he was so hyper-focused on getting access to screens any time of day, all day, without any other replacement skills or activities that he enjoyed participating in. So once we had that conversation, they actually started using ride-on toys and other types of activities in place of the iPad as his reinforcer and fading the access that he had to the iPad. And then they started seeing so many great changes. He was more social, more interactive, more flexible when they were supposed to be doing learning tasks that were not in front of a screen, and better able to complete his work at school in a general classroom where a lot of kids did have access to the tablets at any point in the day. So just by shifting towards movement-based activities that actually created some space in his head, gave time for creativity, gave time for him to be connected and socializing with the person who was facilitating the movement break with him, they were able to get so many more skills and decrease the focus that he had on the tablet because he had other things that he enjoyed doing. And those things became important to him to the point where he would actually ask for those things over the iPad. And that, I feel like, is such a success story, because what we want most for our children on the spectrum who struggle to play, who struggle to engage with their peers, is to actually have body skills, motor skills, social skills to participate in those activities without always retreating to the screen and the done for you technology as a coping strategy to make it through the demands of life.